What's up guys, this is Merc Music and I'm bringing you guys even more Battlefield 1 multiplayer gameplay. For the most part, you're going to be seeing gameplay from my perspective from the Battlefield 1 livestream, but I'll also be showing you guys some of the other really awesome vantages that were taken from the Battlefield 1 stream. Now before I start talking about the game, I do want to give you guys one massive disclosure, and it's the fact that this game is in a pre-alpha build. Please keep in mind that since Battlefield 1 is in pre-alpha, there's a lot of things that are subject to change, and the game is most likely not going to be identical to what you're seeing now. So as far as it goes for weapon balance and weird little minor glitches and all things like that, everything like that is going to be polished and taken care of by the time the game's out. I can't even begin to tell you how many comments I've seen about the announcer.
We are losing objective butter.
And why is Cortana the game announcer?
Guys, when the full game's out, we're not going to be saying that we're capturing apple or butter. At least I hope we're not. The actual announcer for the multiplayer and the lines themselves are subject to change. So there's a possibility that this could be completely different when the game's fully out. Again, I can't completely verify that, but I'm pretty sure they're not going to stick with that. And if they do, it's really not that big of a deal. But yeah, I'm gonna do my best to show you guys some of the most interesting parts of the stream and also tell you guys some of my favorite features in Battlefield 1. And honestly, I would like to talk about some of the things that aren't very good about Battlefield 1, but it's really hard to pinpoint things that weren't so great about the game. And I got to play Battlefield 1 for roughly 10 hours, and I honestly feel like complaining about the game is really nitpicking. In fairness, you guys have heard me complain about Call of Duty, and the things I've complained about are honestly like very serious issues, whereas I feel if I complain about something in Battlefield 1, it's very petty and minor. But even though I want to focus on the things that were great about Battlefield 1, I will talk about some of the negatives as well. But yeah, let's get into this. So the first thing I think we can't ignore
is the graphics.
The game is absolutely beautiful. The thing that really sets the mood and makes the graphics look so good is the dynamic weather on the map. If we go back to Battlefield 4, if you remember on Paracel Storm, the weather on the map was okay, but then when someone set off the Levolution, the storm came in. At the time, it got very predictable and repetitive. But in Battlefield 1, when you load onto Scar, the weather is different every single time, and it always changes to something different every single match. And on top of that, the weather actually affects how the gameplay works. From what we were told, the dynamic weather can actually have an impact on how the gameplay works. One thing that was personally very noticeable for me and honestly kind of cool was the fog. I know not that many people really liked the idea of having fog on the map because it really reduced visibility and it made it hard to use long-range weapons, but it gave people who were using SMGs and pistols and shotguns and ranged melee weapons a really good chance to fight. So close quarters combat was in favor when the map was foggy, but when it was clear and sunny, you could do anything. And obviously when the weather conditions are better, you have a much better chance of sniping. But this dynamic weather has such an amazing impact on the game because it not only makes the map completely unique every time you play it, but you also have to think a lot harder about which weapons you're going to use based on the weather conditions. And realistically, you don't have to change classes and you don't have to switch guns constantly, but if you want an upper hand in a certain situation, it can definitely help. So yeah, the dynamic weather in Battlefield 1 has a very significant impact on the graphic fidelity and really just how great the map looks, and it also has a very huge impact on how you think and how you play tactically. Another thing I noticed that was really great about the game was the grittiness. It didn't personally happen to me, but people were talking about the game, and at one point a tank shot at someone and it missed, but dirt flew all over and it got all over their face, and their soldier actually just contextually like wiped it off their face. It just makes the game so much more real and believable. It's those small things that really make the game so awesome. The particle effects, the explosions, and the destruction. Oh my god. It's kind of similar to Bad Company in the sense that you can basically demolish anything if you're psychotic enough. So that made me really happy. But again, similar to Bad Company, you can't just destroy everything. There have to be certain parts of the map that are kept intact. Otherwise, structurally, the maps just wouldn't work at all. But as far as it goes for movement, you can bust open doors, you can open and close them, you can shoot out windows and then climb through them, and you're actually able to climb over really high ledges. So there's really not any crazy new movement features, but you can just navigate the map a little bit more easily.
Wait, there's no new movement features?
Oh, that's right, the Bayonet Charge. I'm gonna be dead ass serious, this is my favorite part of the game. So when you're sprinting with a weapon that has a bayonet, your crosshair will turn into a circle, and this means that you can enter into a Bayonet Charge animation. When you're doing this Bayonet Charge, your soldier runs really fast, and anyone who gets in your way is going to get eviscerated by the end of your blade. The catch to the Bayonet Charge, though, is that you have to commit. So if you start a Bayonet Charge, you're not going to stop until you make impact with an enemy. But if you completely miss someone, it's not like you're going to Bayonet Charge across the entire map. You're only able to Bayonet Charge for so long before your soldier has to stop. But even though successfully landing a Bayonet Charge is awesome, but we quickly learned that the Bayonet Charge has a lot of other tactical purposes as well, like charging quickly towards objectives. You can use the Bayonet Charge to swiftly get to cover if you're in a tight situation, and if you happen to be using a weapon that's not very good at close quarters, you can use the Bayonet Charge as a last-ditch effort. I really do think that the Bayonet Charge in Battlefield 1 is the best feature. It's fun, it's aggressive, and it's also very tactical. And I think in a couple of years when we look back at Battlefield 1, we're going to remember it for this feature. It's absolutely awesome, and I'm really hoping that the full game is going to have even more amazing features like this. Now, during the live stream, our team didn't get the Zeppelin at all because we weren't losing, but you probably already know this from seeing the second trailer of Battlefield 1. The Zeppelin is crazy, and it looks so unbelievable unbelievably cool when you take that thing down. And the best part is that the Zeppelin doesn't always crash in the same spot. It's not gimmicky at all. What I'm trying to say is that the Zeppelin will not crash in the same spot every single time. It's going to crash wherever it gets destroyed. And anyone and anything that's in its way when it comes crashing down is done. Another thing I'd like to touch on was the sniping in Battlefield 1, which is absolutely great. There's an unscoped bolt-action sniper rifle that fires very fast and is very efficient at close range, but the other sniper rifles that are scoped are better suited for medium to long range engagements. Being able to select from a variety of sniper rifles that can perform well at close and long range and can be scoped or unscoped is amazing. So if you want to be a bush Wookiee that sits in the back of the map that picks people off, or you want to be an aggressive recon sniper, you can do that. But regardless of whatever range you're at, you still need to be very accurate and place your shots well in order to get one-shot kills. Now again, this is just my opinion, and this is something that I think is nice, but again, it's pre-alpha, so it's subject to change, but I think it's nice that the SMGs have a good balance. It's not necessarily a good thing when SMGs start outperforming rifles at longer ranges, and they did it very well. The recoil and the damage range drop-off for some of the SMGs is really well balanced. They're able to do what they do best, which is compete with shotguns at close range and have a good chance of killing people in close quarters, but they don't overstep their boundaries when it comes to taking on rifles and sniper rifles. But again, that kind of stuff is just my opinion, and again, the game is in pre-alpha, so this is subject to change. Now, I know I've said a lot of really good things about the game, and as far as it goes for bad things in the game, there's really just like tiny details that could just be polished, and then the game will just look even nicer. Every so often, you'll get like a weird climbing animation, a player will look weird when they die. One thing I did notice, which was kind of weird, is that if you were piloting a plane and you crashed it into the ground, sometimes it would just kind of sit there and then explode a couple seconds later. But honestly, I don't really have any major complaints with the game. One thing I did notice, and I saw a lot of you guys commenting about this as well, was the user interface. The UI in Battlefield 1 does look a little bit too futuristic, and I really think this has to do with the fact that we're conditioned to seeing older looking UIs on World War type of games. As far as it goes for the minimap, the menus, the text, it does look strikingly similar to Battlefront, and I don't know if that's going to change or not. I think if they did make it look more like World War I, it would make the game look a little bit more authentic, but I also do like the modernized look as well. It's a very clean, nice look, and I know it doesn't really fit with the time as well, but it does look nice. Again, all of the things that I've been talking about are very small things that can be taken care of pretty easily, and ultimately it's DICE's decision to either keep these things as is or possibly try to improve on them. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed the Battlefield 1 multiplayer gameplay. If you guys did and you'd like to see more of it, make sure to drop a like, and I'll see you guys later.
Break it down.